Hey everyone, I'm Norn Queen Alexis, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this discussion about orcs. The new 11th edition Orc Codex is right around the corner, and it's looking absolutely crazy. I am so excited about this, and we have to just jump right into this. I'm a little late on this, and I do apologize, but I've been a little bit busy lately. I've been doing commissions and all sorts of other things, and I'm trying to plan out my tournament list for an upcoming tournament. And yeah, there's a lot happening. I'm also going to be bringing Emperor's Children to a tournament, mostly because I don't have an orc army. If I had an orc army, I'd definitely be bringing that. We're not here to talk about this. We're here to talk about the new Ghazghkull. So Warhammer community is releasing a bunch of the orc stuff, and from leaks and junk like that, we do know that there is some new stuff happening with the orcs, like them getting a potential psychic phase or psychic levels, which might be super cool, and I'm very excited about because I really want psychic leveling to come back to 40k. I personally think all psychic powers should be done during the command phase or the new psychic phase, but that's just me. I think, like, they should have longer ranges, and psychic attacks or psychic abilities should happen during the command phase, where psychic attacks should happen during the shooting phase. Or you just make a separate phase called the psychic phase. That would be much better in my opinion, but I digress. Everyone has a command phase. You could throw the psychic powers in there, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Ghazghkull. And holy shit, is Ghazghkull crazy and cracked and all sorts of other words. So we already know, thanks to a couple of orc detachments, that Ghazghkull could scout. Ghazghkull could advance and charge. Ghazghkull has a permanent Wa in some detachments. Ghazghkull can always count his unit size as 20. There are so many other abilities that you could put on Ghazghkull. 20 boys, Pain Boy, Ghazghkull, and that unit is crazy powerful as it is. But now it looks like Ghazghkull can't join a unit, which is super interesting. He's no longer a leader. He's on the same level as, like, Guilliman. Actually, he's way stronger than Guilliman, potentially. We don't know what new Guilliman, new Lion looks like yet, but going off of Ghazghkull, we might see something crazy with them. So, right off the bat, we do have to talk about a few things. One, auras are back. Just flat out, we're going back to, like, 8th edition auras with this guy. So, while friendly orc units are within 6 inches of this unit, that unit's melee attacks have +1 to hit and +1 wound at all times, which is, again, crazy. That means things like your big choppas and strength 6, strength 7 weapons are typically wounding on 2s against most infantry in the game, and potentially wounding most vehicles in the game on 4s, which is already crazy. Now, you'll notice that it doesn't say wholly within. So you could have Ghazghkull, who's going to be on a base about yay big, a 60 mil. He's going to be in the center of your army, and you're going to be doing 9-inch bubbles next to him of your Orc Boy units. So maybe Ghazghkull isn't going to be headlong into the enemy in the first wave anymore, but now he's going to be the second wave, while your 3 units of 20 boys with 2 Nobz, 3 war bosses, and all 3 pain boys are going in first. And they're crashing in, and then Ghazghkull's coming in maybe the next turn, or he's leading that whole force right in the front, just running directly in and crashing into your opponent. Granted, he can only move 8, so he's moving 8, advancing 4 on average, and then assaulting 2d6, which is 7. So he's looking like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 inches, 20 inches for a threat range, which isn't too bad. That's actually really good. There are some detachments that keep you 18 inches apart, so Ghazghkull can guarantee a first turn charge. If he can still scout, that's even better, because that means his charge is almost completely guaranteed. We do have to talk about the Makari in the room. Makari is no longer a character. He is now just a token. Honestly, I think this makes sense. If you're going to separate Ghazghkull into his own unit, Makari shouldn't be a model, but I do personally think that one Wa banner should be upgraded to Makari, and that should have been a thing, but that's just me. So he's got lone op within 3 inches of orc units, which, again, you're going to be stringing your orc units to Ghazghkull, so you're going to be advancing up the table with Ghazghkull. So he's going to have that lone op for a turn, maybe. because it is orcs and you want to get in your opponent's face and put them in orc jail as quickly as possible and then start smashing into them. This does, however, mean that Ghazghkull is a bit easier to kill now because you can just walk up to him after you defeat the boys in front of him. Good luck with that. But assuming you can, or you can get an angle on Ghazghkull, or you can outflank and get the angle within 12 inches of Ghazghkull, it does look like you can down Ghazghkull pretty easily. And I say pretty easily. He's essentially a greater demon, so he's going to take a very, very long time to take down. He's going to need a dedicated unit to kill him. And most dedicated units that want to kill him are going to be things like Eradicators and similar things like Crisis Battlesuits and everything. But they only reroll against monsters and vehicles, which Ghazghkull is not a monster or vehicle. He is now just an infantry, which means he can just go through buildings and everything, which I kind of disagree with. I think he should be a monster, but he should have the ability to move through terrain, but just giving him the infantry keyword means that he just moves through all terrain, which is really good. One of the other things that we need to talk about is that Ghazghkull has the explosives keyword now, so he can throw grenades or explosives. And that's D6. Typically, it's 4 mortal wounds that he can deal just with a grenade strat, which is pretty nice. I'm going to keep calling the grenade strat the grenade strat. It is explosives now, but whatever. Okay, so let's read some of his abilities. Makari, hoist the banner. I also love that they are slipping in more and more narrative focused abilities. Like we are actually getting narrative stuff in our data sheets again. Absolutely love that. In your army's movement phase, you can select a number of friendly orc units equal to or less than the current battle round. Those number of orcs are riled up for the turn. I will admit, I don't know what riled up means. I think they can advance and charge. I think that's what that means. And if that's true, that's crazy. So I will admit that I do have limited knowledge on orcs. I only fight them a lot. And I know the easiest way of beating them is to actually use the epic challenge and kill their pain boy as quickly as possible, and then let the wounds spill over to their squad so they don't get feel no pain the next round. Why is... I swear the second I start recording, everyone in the world makes a ton of noise. We just had car alarms outside. That's always fun. Okay, so getting back to his abilities, his Prophet of the Great Wa is absolutely cracked. He has explosives, which is crazy. He is infantry, which is crazy. His stat line is he's movement 8, which is really good. He's keeping up with the boys, even if they advance and he doesn't. Toughness 10, that's on par with a Keeper of Secrets. 2+ armor save is absolutely amazing. He's already had that. 16 wounds is crazy. He has a very similar stat line to Fulgrim. So he has a very similar stat line to a Demon Primarch. Fulgrim has 16 wounds at toughness 11 with 16 movement, but his whole thing is that he rockets at the opponent and then dies in one turn. The only 2 downsides that I'm seeing, he has a leadership of 6+, which with augments and everything like that, you could battle shock Ghazghkull, but battle shocking him does kind of nothing. He has an OC of 4, so he's getting out OC'd by dreadnoughts. Again, totally fine. You're going to have like 60 boys next to him. I think at minimum now you're playing 30 to 60 boys, but that's totally fine. All right, so let's get into his ranged weapon, the Mork's Roar. So it has 2 different firing protocols. One is for ranged, and one is usually for when you're in combat. So Close Orders allows you to shoot this weapon in combat. Torrent means that it auto hits, which is crazy. He basically has a flamethrower gun in combat, which is nuts. I don't think people are talking about this enough. 2d6, so average is 7, plus 2, so 9 shots, auto hitting, strength 6, AP 1, 1 damage shots. That's easily killing like 2 to 3. No, it's killing 1.5 blade guard, but that's still really good. If you spike this roll, you're getting Ghazghkull out of a combat before he can declare a charge, which is even crazier. So if Ghazghkull charged into something, killed most of it, and then your opponent stays in combat, the next turn you Morks roar them and then charge out of that combat, could be really efficient. Then his other attack is range 36, so it's a big shooter. 12 shots, hitting on 5s. He's going to be hitting on 6s because of terrain rules. Strength 6, AP 1, damage 1. You get 1, maybe 2 wounds out of this. Maybe if you're lucky, 4. Then that's if you spike your rolls. Mork's Roar is more for more melee attacks in your opponent's turn. There goes Kofu. Anyway, then we have his melee attacks. He's got the Adamantium Headbutt, which is great. I absolutely love that. It's an extra attack with precision. And remember, and devastating wounds, holy shit. And remember, in this detachment, if you have +1 attacks, it does affect your extra attacks now. Your extra attacks can get more attacks, which is kind of crazy. Precision is also really good if you want to take down enemy apothecaries, or in the mirror match against enemy orcs, you want to kill their pain boy as quickly as possible. 3d3 plus 3 auto kills the pain boy if it doesn't make any of its feel no pains. The devastating wounds on top of that is actually kind of crazy too. Then we have Gork's Claw. Thank you, Accent. Which has Cleave 2, which means for every 10 models in the unit, you get an additional 2 attacks. So again, if he goes into mass infantry, he's getting +4 attacks. Again, with devastating wounds, though he doesn't proc on 5s anymore because Makari is not there, which kind of sucks. I think once per game he might be able to, but that's about it. 7 attacks. He's going into a big unit. Space Marines typically don't take big units except for like Ultramarines, maybe, and some Salamander builds have big units. But he's also really good into the current meta of 10 Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators. I actually completely just forgot about them until just now. So he's getting 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 attacks at hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s to 3s, depending on the stratagems or the abilities of those Terminators. AP3, putting them on a 4-up invo save, and then each damage is killing one. Like, Ghazghkull clears a good chunk of Terminators. Like, I think he might pick up about 4 Terminators a turn, which is really good. I might be underestimating him. He might be able to spike higher, but I've had Ghazghkull in a recent game kill only 4 Sacrisans, so yeah. Overall, I think this guy is absolutely crazy. He's another war boss. I don't know if there's going to be a restriction on war bosses. I don't believe so. I don't think GW is in the market of making limitations outside of points. But overall, an insane stat line. I think that best this is an upgrade. At worst, it's a side grade. I don't think that he got worse in any way than his current model. Then we got the boys data sheet, and I'm going to go through this quickly. And I know a lot of people online are bitching and moaning that the stat line is there's too many options, too many weapons. To them, I call you bitches. You guys is bitches. Stop being a bitch. Give us more stuff. Yeah, stat line, this is fine. This all fits on one page. It's totally fine. So the boys' stat line for the most part stayed exactly the same. However, the knob went up to 3 wounds, which means a blade guard has to hit twice to kill him. Which, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the most common weapon in 40k, most common weapon that I see, Strength 5, AP 2, Damage 2, is one of the most common weapons. It's all power weapons for Space Marines. It's a good chunk for Sisters of Battle as well. Sometimes the Strength 4. A lot of melee attacks are AP 2, Damage 2. Actually, come to think of it, most character weapons are AP2, Damage 2. Most non-named characters, I should say, like Space Marine Captains, the Lord Exultant, I think is AP2, Damage 2. Now, their strengths vary and everything like that, but what I'm saying is the 2 knobs in the unit are going to survive. Like, and you can't snipe these guys either. They're not characters. So you have to go through a shit ton of boys, and then the unit is still powerful enough with the 2 knobs, the war boss, and the pain boy in that unit. So let's go over their weapons. We have the Big Shooter, which now has lethal, non-monster, non-vehicle, rapid fire 2, so 5 shots, hitting on 5s, typically 6s. You might get a couple of lucky shots in there. I don't know if you're going to replace... Does it replace your weapon? So let me read the options first before I decide whether or not these weapons are good. Okay. Any number of knobs in this can have their custom choppa and combi scorcher replaced with a big choppa. So it replaces both of their weapons with a single weapon. Not a big fan of that, but okay. We have to see, because combi scorcher is really good. Any number of knobs in the unit can have the custom choppa replaced with one power claw. That keeps their scorcher, which is important to note. Any number of models in the unit, any number of knobs in the unit can have their combi scorcher replaced with one of the following: combi rocket, combi shooter. I think you'd keep the combi scorcher because it's an auto-hitting weapon. Granted, you're not really shooting a lot of these units because you're going to be advancing and charging. The next turn, if they're alive, they're going to be doing that, but they're going to be staying in combat. I am yawning a lot, and I apologize. For every 10 boy in the unit, one boy can have a shooter replaced with a big shooter. So there can be, it looks like 20 in the unit. So that means 2 of them can have big shooters, 2 of them can have rocket launchers, and 2 of them can have burners. That's a crazy amount of weapons that they can have. So at that point, you are looking at some bigger weapon choices. We got a Kofu. Look at him. He's giving me kisses already. He's such a good boy. You could just lay down. That would be cool. Or you could sit up. You're just not on camera. Okay. So, because these things aren't limited, which I think is pretty cool, and you can get duplicates of everything. It might be cool to get the duplicates of everything. Because, like, one squad of 10 has a burner, rocket, and shooter. One squad of 20 has 2 of each. That's kind of really good, isn't it? But because it just replaces their shooter. It doesn't replace their choppa, so there's no negatives to replacing their weapons. Okay, they're just upgrades. That's amazing. All right, so let's read their abilities. Once per battle per unit. In your shooting phase, a unit with... When this unit is selected to shoot, you can use this ability. If you do, that unit's range attacks have +1 to hit. This is cool because this mitigates the -1 to hit from your ballistic skill being modified by terrain. Tide of Muscle. In the fight phase, if this unit made a charge move this turn, it just has lethal hits. Holy shit, that's crazy good. Never too busy for a fight. Being engaged does not prevent the unit from being eligible to start an action. Why are boys the best troop choice in the entire game? This is crazy how efficient they are. Like, orcs are already the best army in 40k as of right now, which is, you know, right now when I'm posting this video. Look at the date of the post of the video. They are just unequivocally the best army in the game. But this might be crazy. So you have 2 big shooters, which have 5 shots. If you're within 18 inches of your opponent, you're going to be that in turn 1. But conveniently, they do not have assault, so you're going to be moving and advancing and not shooting this. The combi rocket has a bursta rocket, which just has 1 shot. A buster rocket. Okay, I thought it was burst, like, you know, blast into them. But no. And then it has the shooter portion of it, which is, yeah, it's just a shooter. Does the regular shooter have lethal? Yeah, it does. Holy shit, this army is really efficient. This is actually kind of cracked how good this army is. Okay, so combi rockets are okay if one unit can't make it into charge range and you know it can't make it into charge range. You just pull it into rocket range. That could be really good. The shooters, all the shooters have non-monster, non-vehicle lethal hits, and a good chunk of them have rapid fire. All of them have rapid fire. So they're all going to 3 to 4 attacks depending on the range of their weapons. They all also have sluggers, which is important to note. No, they don't. I lied to you. The Nob does not have a slugger. That's a boy's weapon. He just has a Choppa, Shuda, and a Slugga. That's the boys. The Nob has the custom Choppa and the Combi Scorcha. So let me take a look at this Combi Scorcha. Lethal hits for the Shuda variant of it, and the Scorcha is Blast 1. Torrent. A Flamer with Blast is interesting. I kind of like that. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So all their weapons are good, because they don't replace their Choppas. The Choppa is also good because it's Strength 5 AP 1, so it's wounding Space Marines on 3s. And if you combined it with this, you're wounding Space Marines on 2s with Orks. Orks are demolishing Space Marines. The Big Choppa is Cleave 2. Again, Cleave giving essentially Blast in combat, which is really good. So if he goes into a squad of 5, he's getting 6 attacks. Again, insane. Potentially hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s because of Ghazghkull upping their hit and wound. How do you not build an orc list with just 120 boys? Like, I am so confused how you don't just do as many war bosses as possible, as many pain boys as possible, at least 3 units of 20 of this with Ghazghkull. Needs to be, like, mandatory for every orc list. Like, this is crazy. They can fight, they can do actions, they get lethal hits on the charge, they get +1 to hit and wound, an additional +1 to hit, +1 to hit in ranged, once per game, which they're only shooting once per game because the rest of the game they're spending in combat. They're absolutely fucking crazy. Like, this is nuts how good they are. This is just an upgrade. Okay, let's move on to Tankbustas. Something that's not very good, but we'll move on to them. Tankbustas are always that unit that seems really good on paper and then performs like dog shit because they're so easy to kill. But now they have a save characteristic of 4+, so they do get a 6-up save, which is good. Okay, so let's see what they can get. The Nob in the unit can have a Buster rocket launcher or a Pulse rocket, which is pretty cool because they're pretty decent weapons. Rocket Barrage. In your shooting phase, when this unit has shot, select one enemy unit hit by those attacks. That unit takes a battle shock test at -1. Okay, that's really good. That's actually decent. You want that kind of stuff. So if you take, like, minimum squads of 6, just 3 minimum squads of 6, depending on their points, you could just start battle shocking things on objectives. But then again, you have your boys on those objectives anyway, and you're playing take and hold, typically. So you're just taking those objectives regardless. So this unit is not that good. And if you go into Demons, which is another really popular list, you cause battle shocks at their +1, -1 because they're in Shadow of Chaos. So you take this unit, you shoot at a Keeper of Secrets, and you might heal the Keeper. Because when they get battle shock, they heal. When they take battle shock tests and pass, they heal. Okay, so the rocket, we have the rocket launcher Hunter, the rocket launcher standard, 2 attacks, hitting on 4s to 5s. Doesn't look like they have anything that can stop them from hitting worse. They can get lethal hits, which is really good, and they can get the AP bonus, but AP at 2+ is fine. Most things are either bringing that to AP 1, which is still lethal in this edition, or they're just taking an invo save at this point. Strength 10 is nice. Damage, just flat damage 3 is always good. I would prefer D3 +1, but that's just me. Let's see. They have to target a visible enemy unit within 12 on a D6. On a 3+, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Kind of like the Bomb Squig being on 2+, but 3 is fine. Once per turn, twice per battle. So you can only do this once, which sucks because the unit has to survive 2 turns and be visible to your opponent. So that means that the second that they unleash the Bomb Squig, they are visible to your opponent, and your opponent just picks this unit up. So I don't really see this unit as that good. In your shooting phase, when this unit is selected to shoot, you can, against an enemy monster or vehicle within 24, you can get either +1 AP or lethal hits. You always take the lethal hits, but they don't have enough attacks to make the lethal hits really worth it. It's okay. I want to see what Flash Gits are going to look like, or Ludas, because they're all competing for the same spot as your dedicated shooting unit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these are way better than I think, but I think that these are a solid pass because you get 2 rockets, possibly 3 rockets per boy unit. And I think they're the same rocket, aren't they? Let's see. Combi rocket is only strength 4. No, that's the shoot. It's strength 10, AP 2, damage 3. Yeah, it's the same rocket. And it, again, if your opponent's out in the open, it hits on 4. So it hits the same as this. Maybe I'm missing something. Somebody point this out. I don't think this unit's that good. They don't really have good melee either. They have the pretty decent hammer, which is nice. But I think that hammer is replacing a weapon, isn't it? Is that hammer replacing it? Rocket launcher and Ghazghkull. They have 1 chopper, 1 that. 1 Tankbusta in the unit can have the following, which is the burster rocket. Oh, wow, they don't have this as their standard weapon? So what do they have as the standard weapon? Every Tankbusta has this. The Nob can have the smash hammer, which is a good name for it. Tankbustas can replace equipment with one of the following. Wait, but they have the burst rocket launcher as their option. The pulse rocket? The pulse rocket's not even here, which is funny. What the hell is the pulse? Are we not seeing all of their stuff? Am I crazy? Burst rocket launcher, standard and hunter rocket pistol. Is the pulsar rocket not here? Is the pulsar rocket an ability? Pulsar rocket. Once per battle in your shooting phase. Oh, wow, you actually need this, which replaces... Oh, this unit's way worse than I thought. So you replace their gun with a pulse rocket. Can... One Tankbusta can be equipped with it. It doesn't replace. Okay. So you replace them with these. That makes sense. Okay. I was about to say, if you're replacing one of their rockets with a piece of war gear that doesn't shoot, that'd be terrible. All right, moving on. I don't think Tankbustas are really worth it. They're kind of cool, but they're not great. They have to get within 24, which means they're in charge range of your opponent. Your opponent is going to pick up this unit because it, not for nothing, it kind of sucks in combat because it's just going to get hit and picked up. Most damage, again, is AP2 damage 2, which picks up this entire unit except for the Nob. And then the Nob hits back with 3 attacks, which are survivable. They're going to deal some damage, but 1 Blade Guard unit into this, which I assume the Blade Guard is just going to kill this. Hell, Intercessors are just going to kill this. Okay, moving on to the Nobs. The Nobs start out as a base 3 wounds with a 4-up armor save, so I think they got better armor, which is really good. Moving on, we have the Big Scorcha. The Big Scorcha. It's a bigger Scorcha. It has Blast 2 and Torrent, so it starts out at 3, and then can potentially go up to 5 to 7. That actually kind of makes it decent. The Custom Shooter has, again, it's the Custom Shooter. Lethal hits non-monster vehicles. Pretty good weapon. 8 shots. Holy shit. Wait, how many shots was the Big Shooter? The Big Shooter was 5, right? No, 3. Okay. And then 2 5, yeah. Okay. But the custom Big Shooter is just 8 shots. That's kind of nuts for a weapon that's not going to do anything. It's just, if it doesn't replace your war gear, I would take it. Then we have the Combi Rocket with the Buster Rocket and the Shooter. Buster Rocket is the same rocket we've been seeing. Lethal hits for non-monster vehicles, still good. I don't remember if you can shoot both parts of a combi weapon this edition. I think you can. It might be in the Orc Codex that they can or can't. I forget if the main rulebook says if they can. I remember in 10th edition they could. Then we got the Custom Shooter, which is 4 shots. 6 shots. Why is the Nob unit a shooting unit now? That's interesting. With the Big Chopper, the Custom Chopper, and the Custom Krumpa, which is their Power Claw. It's their Power Claw replacement. Let's see what we got here. The Big Chopper is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2s if you're... Wait, does Ghazghkull only... Orc units, yeah. So if you have this Nob unit near Ghazghkull, they're all hitting on 2s with +1 to wound. which I'm going to assume that everyone is bringing Ghazghkull, because there's no reason not to bring Ghazghkull unless he's like 340 points. But even at that, I think he's worth it. But anyway, we have 4 attacks hitting on 3, strength 7, AP 1, damage 2. AP 1 is still good because it forces your opponent to pop stratagems, and AP 1 forces Marines to save on 4s, which is really good. Custom Choppa, this is the lower strength. I'm assuming everyone in the unit has one of these. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 5, again, wounding on 3s down to 2s to Space Marines. AP 2, damage 2, this is a Marine killer. This is absolutely terrific as a weapon. 4 attacks is pretty low, but they're hitting on 2s, so it balances out as if they were 5 attacks hitting on 3s, because they are going to get the +1 as long as you're near Ghazghkull. Custom Krumpa, a Power Claw that's hitting on 2s is fucking crazy. Even hitting on 3s is still really good. So even if this unit is not next to Ghazghkull, and you just throw them into a truck and just rocket it at your opponent, this is still really good. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 model can have their custom Krumpa and 1 model can have their custom Krumpa and custom Shooter replaced with a big Scorcha and custom Choppa. Why would you replace the Power Claw? What is their standard equipment? Wait, every model in the unit has the Power Claw? Okay, so you don't replace this. It is only 3 attacks. Is the Choppa actually better? Ooh. Maybe you do. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 can have the combi weapons and everything. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 model can have their custom Krumpa and custom Shooter replaced with a big Choppa. That gets rid of their shooting attack. I don't think the big Choppa is worth it if it gets rid of a shooting attack, because it's only AP 1, and I'd rather have the shooting and the higher strength weapon. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 can have their custom Shooter replaced with 1 paired Krumpas. Okay, we don't know what the paired Krumpas do. Oh, there it is. Attacks made with this weapon can reroll hit rolls and wound rolls. Holy shit, you do that! Sorry, Kovu, I scared him. I scared my buddy. He's sitting on my lap. So that's really good. Any model in the unit can have their custom Shooter replaced with a custom rocket. Funny enough, you don't do that, but you could have fun just doing a whole unit of rockets, which unironically makes them slightly better than the Tankbustas, because they all have 3 wounds and they just have a rocket that can shoot every turn. So they are unironically better than Tankbustas. That's really funny. Okay, they have the ammo run for the +1 to hit. While making a charge move, this unit can move through models, excluding monsters and vehicles. So it can move through... It could move through your opponent. Oh shit, that's really good. While making a charge move, this unit can move through models, excluding monsters and vehicles. This can move through your opponent infantry. Oh, this unit's just way better than... Like, the Tankbustas are fucking terrible compared to Nobz. Like, if you were just doing a funny list, you could do 10 Krumpas and 10 rockets, blast the vehicle out of your way, potentially, using the ammo run for the +1 to hit with your ranged attacks. Then, well, you would have 8 rockets to kill something. This unit's crazy. Why are orcs so good? Like, in all fairness, they do die immediately, so you do need, like, a pain boy or a banner bearer or Wa banner with them. Sorry, a knob with a banner. Stupid. Even Kovu's getting annoyed at that name. But, yeah, throwing a knob, the war banner with them to give them a 5-up invo save. Maybe a pain boy to keep them alive. You're throwing your pain boy in with your boys. If the pain boss is still a thing, you might throw the pain boss in with them. Because you're throwing your war bosses. You might throw your big bosses in here. Ooh, hold on. This unit is cracked. Holy shit, are orcs this good? Like, have I just been living under a rock? Have orcs just been this good? I know they're the #1 army in the game, but I didn't think they were, like, crazy good. All right, let's just move on to the last thing, because this video has been going on for 35 minutes. We have the Killa Kans. They're trash. They're still bad. They're toughness 7, 3+ save, which is good. 6 up invo, which is fine. 5 wounds each. Again, fine. They're going to die really easily. They're only 2 OC. Whatever. They put all of their weapons into one weapon, which I disagree with. It should have been one of each weapon. I like the Ghazghkull. I'm old enough to remember the Ghazghkull. The Tankbusta, which is Daka. Blast 1 ignores cover. That's pretty good. They do hit on 4s, which makes them good. And they have sustained hits. So this gun is actually pretty decent. But for the same points of this unit, you might just want to get a Daka rig, which is just better. Deadly Demise 1 and Wa. Spiteful Power Trip. This unit's attacks. That targets a unit that has no models with a toughness 7+ have +1 to hit. Okay, so they're hitting on 3s if they shoot infantry. But then again, your whole army kills infantry, and you need something for anti-vehicle shooting, which unironically might be your Nobz. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could go to toughness 6, which means lizards. They could shoot lizards. My wolfen. I use lizards for wolfen. What are they shooting? They're shooting Terminators. And this isn't killing Terminators. I'm sorry. This is not killing Terminators. Hitting on 3s, back to 4s because of no ignores cover on this weapon. AP2, so it is forcing the invo save. 3 damage, or the Armor of Contempt, and it goes to a 3-up save, and they save most of them. Then we have the Tankbusta point blank, which you would think that this would have, what is it called? Close order or pistol. Yeah, this unit is terrible. This unit's still bad, unfortunately. That sucks because cans could be cool. They're decent. They're not great. They're just decent. Yeah. Definite highlights is Ghazghkull and the fucking Nobz. Like the Nobz, the boys, and Ghazghkull are amazing. I absolutely love this. I think this is great. I have no notes. I think this is just good. This is just good stuff. Orcs are just going to be like on a power trip until we get a nerf for them very recently. But yeah, so that's everything. And we have a Kovu right here. Look at him. He's so sweet. He's a good boy and I love him. And he also likes orcs because he's red and wants to go faster. Anyway, I'm interested to see what the orcs are going to be doing going forward. We've seen a bunch of rules spoiled. I don't want to talk about them too much because I don't know enough about them at this moment. I only read that they have a psychic phase. Look at this pile of orange here. He's the best. I love him. Boop. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any thoughts of your own on these orcs, please comment them in the comment section down below. I read every single comment. Yeah. I think orcs are going to easily be one of the best armies in 40k in 11th edition. Just hands down. I think they are going to stay really competitive for a very long time. So, as always, I'm Northern Queen Alexis. I love you guys. Oh, you got your face. All right, bye.